Good morning, everybody. It's me, or at least the back of me. It's me, Mitch, and happy Friday morning. Happy Friday morning and welcome. Welcome to Morning Coffee with Mitch, and as usual, drink it if you got it. Always the best, always the best. First thing, first sip. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you all. God, what a crowd. Almost 100 people already. 100 people already. I'm already worn out. I'll warn you about that. I've been up since 5 this morning. I've been rearranging everything. I don't think I've spent 5 minutes in my wheelchair. I've been on my feet behind a walker the whole time. I probably overdid it a little bit. But the show must go on, and here I am. One of the things I've been trying to accomplish is to rely less on the wheelchair and get more mobile around my house using different kinds of walkers. And I've got 2 different types. I've got one that you stand between the two supports, has a wheel on the front, a solid thing on the back. I don't like that one. Then I've got these things called a rollator. Got one of them, and that has 4 8-inch wheels and a seat built into it, and you walk behind it, you can turn around and sit down. That's going to be really helpful when I get to the point where I want to start taking walks in the neighborhood. Right now, as good as all of you think that I'm recovering, so much of the recovery has been tremendous. So much of the recovery has given me additional movement in my hand and my leg, which were completely dead. That doesn't mean it doesn't have a long way to go. And I know, and I appreciate the good thoughts, and some of you are saying it'd be great to see you back to normal in a month or 2. I'm sorry. That's just not going to happen. Not in a month or 2. I have to relearn to walk. I have to relearn to use my right hand. The range of motion is increasing. I can hold it up over my head and down, and my fingers, but I cannot hold the pen yet. I can't write. I can't work the mixer here with it. Can't work a mouse with it yet. Every day it gets a little bit better, but it's going to take a while. I've resigned myself to that, and it's okay, and it doesn't depress me. But I always appreciate all the well wishes and the compliments on how fast my recovery is, but I have to be realistic too. It's going to be quite a while before I regain the kind of freedom that I had to go out, hop in my car, go to the store. But I'm adjusting, and we have to adjust to this. I just thought I'd say that. I don't want anybody to think that my recovery has slowed down because I'm not out walking 3 miles in the neighborhood quite yet, or next week, recording a video talking about stuff. When I do what I did this morning, that is run around like crazy. I'm sitting in a desk chair now instead of my wheelchair, which I've been doing here in the studio. I parked the wheelchair this morning at about 5:30 outside my bedroom door, picked up my walker, and I have been using it ever since, in the kitchen, washing dishes, making coffee, moving this chair from the other room into here, one step at a time. I think it would be comical watching me go. On my part, it really is reclaiming my autonomy and freedom, one step at a time, one step at a time. It ain't going to be easy, but I'll adapt. After all, paraplegics adapt. Everybody adapts. And hopefully, within a few months, I'll be able to walk without a walker and have very much extended the use of my right arm and leg. As it is right now, I don't have balance issues. I'm not afraid of falling. The strength in my right leg is coming back, so I have confidence in it. I can go up and down steps if I have to. I can go outside and sit on my porch if I want to. I can go out and walk to the street and back if I want to. And I think the only problem that I'm having from what people are telling me is I'm overdoing it. Slow down. Slow down. I talked to Kelsey on the phone, Dr. Kiltz, and Nelson. And Kiltz is yelling at me. You got to rest, Mitch. You got to rest. Take it easy. You're overdoing it, but that's not my style. My style is to be the opposite of lazy and go for it and fix it. And I'm tired this morning. I think I overdid it yesterday. I overdid it this morning. So I'm sure nobody will mind if I make the decision after this live stream to take the rest of the day off, take the rest of the day off, along with all of you. Y'all tell me that my speech, it's hard to notice any difference. I notice a lot of difference. Okay? I notice a lot of difference. It doesn't sound to me like it sounds to you, but I have to speak. It's an effort to enunciate clearly. Occasionally it may sound like I'm slurring. I am. It's tiring. It's tiring. Let me stop here and thank Homestead Hal Curry. Love from the man, Family Mitch, $10 super chat. Thank you, Curry. Thanks so much. I'm glad you're watching. And I got a little advice for you, my friend. Don't have a stroke. Don't have a stroke. We all have a bucket list, right? We all kind of check things off. There's been some things showed up on my bucket list that I hadn't really wanted to be on there. Brain surgery. Brain surgery. Check. Check. Stroke. Check. Wow. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I should throw the bucket list away. Right now, at the top of my bucket list is to regain my mobility and my freedom. I'm not ashamed to be seen behind a walker. I'm actually proud because it's a comeback. And if I've learned nothing else and can give you no better advice from the standpoint of somebody very close to 80 years old who's had a devastating freedom-robbing event like this late in his life, is I don't care what it takes. Find a way to pick out the positives. Keep your attitude positive. Don't feel sorry for yourself. It's so easy to fall into those traps. And realize just how important your family and your friends are who care about you, because the rest of the world doesn't. Not the people in the hospitals, not the doctors, not the insurance companies. You're just a dollar sign and a number to them. Cherish your family, and cherish all your friends. That's why I'm still doing this. I'm doing this because I have so many friends, so many people that care about me. Other than the idiots that leave stupid comments on my videos. Stupid comments. The morons have not gone away. I have a policy, and I wanted to talk about that a little bit before I start welcoming people and looking for questions. I have a new policy. I never used to like to hide users from the channel. That's kind of like blocking somebody. But the difference is I have an option that says hide user from the channel. The user doesn't know he's been hidden and can continue to go on and make posts till his little, or her little heart's content. None of those posts will ever show up either as a comment on a video or a chat entry in a live stream. They're basically talking to themselves. When they look for their posts, there they are. But to everybody else on the planet, they're not there. It's very clever of YouTube, because I think it stops some of these people who would want retribution for being blocked, take out a vengeance, start stalking and hounding. It keeps them from knowing that they're blocked. I mean, they could find out if they logged in from a different account, but I think that's a lot of work to find out. So when I used to just remove comments, I would get adamant, nasty inquiries. How come you removed my comment? Blah, 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 blah. I didn't want to start fights with people. I don't want to debate anything with anybody in a chat or in comments. I don't have the time. People want to start debates with me if they disagree. That kind of thing is whack-a-mole. It goes on forever. Nobody wins. I don't have time for that. When I get any comment on a video trying to egg me on, get me into a debate because they're a vegan, I'm hiding them instantly without a second's thought. So be careful. If you don't want to be hidden, don't post a comment I might mistake. Don't post a funny comment or a joke or bust on me or dig on me somehow. I caught a couple of them, and I'm glad I did, because these were friends of mine. But be careful, because at first glance now, from here on out, I see a thing that says, one of these days, Mitch, you'll wake up and realize that your diet caused your stroke and that you're giving misinformation and killing thousands of people with your Yes, I will never get that far down a comment like that. I have no use for that individual, and they obviously have no use for me. And why? In their demented, evil, mean, hurtful minds, they feel it necessary to try to hurt the feelings of a 78-year-old man who had a stroke. I'll never know. But the hell with them. I don't ever want to know who they are. I don't want to hear from them again, and I certainly don't want to debate them there. They may even be right, and I may even be wrong. But if I have one freedom left, it's that I can have my opinion, and I can tell anybody about it. Whether they believe it is up to them. So I've finally come to terms with the hide user from channel option, and it feels pretty good. And so far, so good. So I thought I'd tell you that. And for a couple of you that have busted on me, I was able to recognize it as it being busted on, and I just laughed. But once I hit that button, I can go in and look down a list and reinstate somebody. But that list probably has 1,000 names on it now. So I got to be careful not to hide somebody. I'll never be able to unhide them. So here we are. That gets my blood flowing just thinking about stuff like that. Oh, we have 231 people here watching this old fart rant this morning. Good to see you all. Let me see. Let me get back over here and see if I can get back to the beginning. We have a new member, Ross. Ross HB became a member of the private community. And next week, I've decided next Thursday evening, I'll be able to start up the private community live streams again so that I can spend a little time with some of the great people that come into the chat with me. I miss it. I miss it. Last night, I almost did it, but I said next Thursday. So I'll be bringing that back next Thursday, and I'm looking forward to seeing all the members of the private community. And you know that in those chats, I'll be sharing some things with you that I don't share with the general public, because I know I'm amongst friends, non-judgmental people. It's easy to be judgmental. I'm judgmental. I mean, I don't do it on purpose, but I'm very judgmental. I'm not afraid, not ashamed to admit it. We all are. If we say we're not judgmental, I think we're deluding ourselves. If I see a 300-pound person injecting insulin into them, I immediately make a judgment. I may feel sorry for the person, but I'm saying in my mind, you need to fix that. I can tell you how to fix that. I guess that's a form of judgment. I like to keep it to myself, but it comes out occasionally, especially what I refer to the masses as sick, fat diabetics. That isn't judgmental. I don't know what is. So, okay, first one. Checked in last night at 7:50. Patty molded. Hiya, Patty, you're on the ball. Terry Sue came in shortly thereafter. Said, yay. Nikki W. All my old friends, man. Jump right on that post when it gets up there. Cliff Medina. Cliff, how you doing? And of course, Michael Seeley from Tampa, United Carnivore. What time was this? 8:39. Bill Cook. Hiya, Bill. DJ Scry 89. Dan from Tarpon Springs. I should remember that by now. Dan. Smoothie 420 says, yippee. That was at 9 o'clock in the evening. And we had Francine Bourgeois, the source of the hot coffee for me every day. By virtue of the super chat that enabled me to buy the coffee warmer that I so dearly love. Thank you, Francine. Good to see you. And also last night at about 11 o'clock, we had Chet. Is it Koran or I don't see a C. Chet Koran. That's a new one on me, miss. Looking forward to your caffeinated wisdom from Oxford, Mississippi. Just below, is that Missouri? What is that? Oxford, just below the, Tornado Playground. Yeah, Mississippi. I thought, with all the MSs and MOs and all the other M's, MTs, and sometimes it's confusing if you live in Florida and don't travel a lot. Lady June, how you doing? In the middle of the night, Thomas, Target Prime Rib, 2 o'clock in the morning. 3 o'clock in the morning, Wanda Gerling, holy cow. Finally, somebody who got some sleep is Couch Potato. And I got up at 5 in the morning, so I was up before you. And it takes me in the morning about 45 minutes to get up and get dressed. No, it is a ritual and it is exhausting. The good news is my hands are working good enough now for me to tie my shoes. Something you don't think about. One thing you don't think about when this happens to you is all the things that you can't do anymore. Think about what it would be like to live with one hand. It's incredibly hard. And every day you find something else you need two hands for. But tying your shoes is just kind of the first thing you get hit with. And my hand is working well enough now. I still, just to show you the progress here, I can hold it up here. I can raise it up above my head. I can even hold it out in front of me, but it is such an effort to hold it up here. It's tiring in 10 seconds. My hand, on the other hand, if I were to hold it up, help hold it up, and sometimes I try to avoid moving this arm with that arm, but sometimes if I have to reach out and grab with it, I'll have to do it this way. My fingers, however, are really, the dexterity is coming back. I can squeeze, I can hold on to things. And in that respect, it's useful again, but I basically have to keep it close to my body. Anyway, it's a concession. I know that it's going to improve over time, and it keeps me going. Keeps me going. I make the best of it. Every day, I expand my freedoms, my freedom of movement a little more. Rely less on the stupid wheelchair, which I hate, more on the walkers. I've got to the point now where I can get to and get on all the furniture in my house and get up easily. And it takes a while. It takes a while. I can't imagine, as most people have told me, how fast my recovery is going so far, having to wait, say, 6 months instead of 5 weeks to get to the point I am now. And I will, until proven otherwise, and until somebody tells me, here's absolutely how we know that being a carnivore and having high cholesterol is the cause of your stroke. Not correlated to, but the cause. In other words, in order for it to be causal, I'd have to be able to say, in no uncertain terms, there's no way I would have had this stroke had I not been a carnivore or had high cholesterol. Nobody can show me that. I asked every doctor I met. Nobody has an idea. I'm going to make a video about the cause of the stroke and everything I've learned so far, and that'll be interesting. And it's food for thought. But in the final analysis, nobody knows. One doctor told me, oh, medical science hasn't advanced that far yet. Geez, what a thing for a doctor to admit, huh? Yeah. It's crazy out there. Meanwhile, in the hospitals, they're bound and determined to get everybody on insulin. You should read the comments. I get it. I'm trying to read them all and at least give them a heart, if not respond. That's a full-time job. So many people and so many experiences, and 99% of them agreeing with the things I observed. And only 1% of nitwits and morons and mean people who definitely want to blame eating meat for all the world's problems. It's crazy. But people are brainwashed, and I never stop thinking there's a possibility that maybe I'm brainwashed. That's why I wear my shirt that says I may be wrong, but I doubt it. And I dig pretty deep into things, so nothing has shaken me yet. Now I'm getting ready to have a cardiac workup, and we'll see. But I did live 75 years eating all that junk. I'm sure it did some damage. They will try to blame that damage on my recent diet. It doesn't work that fast, I'm afraid. I've been a carnivore for 1 year and about 8 months. You don't get serious plaque buildup, arterial atherosclerosis in 2 years, that is a lifetime process. But it doesn't stop them from injecting their agenda and blaming whatever it is they want to blame because it furthers their cause, makes them money, sells you drugs. The American way. Sometimes my cynicism shows a little bit. I know I'm in good company with that, though. Where was I? 6:26 this morning. The likelihood that I answer a lot of questions is fading into the background here. Anyway, Wayne Herman says, good morning, Mandy. Mandy Beddoes, how are you? Yes, it is another day. And Mike Seeley Sr. here in Melbourne. Lori's here. Tina's here. Michael Pregler, good morning. Sandy Blythe. And let's just get it on up here to 9:30, and then I'll start looking for some questions. CB, my buddy, Sheriff CB from Alabama. Good morning, Mitch and Mitch Fitz. He's driving, but hopefully you're listening. Hi, CB. How are you? Chris Wayne and Harry Dion. How are you, Harry? Good to see you, my friend. Meatitudes, another regular. How are you? Princess, Mom. Princess, how are you? Fell off the wagon with heavy cream and cheese. That's not really off the wagon. It's not really off the wagon. Heavy cream is no carb. And if it's a high-fat cheese, it's fine. And if you can tolerate it, that's fine. But if you find it addictive, that's when I would think you'd want to avoid it. Because that's when you can eat too much of it. You can eat too much of it. And what is going on here? Okay. We just got a $10 super chat from Canadian, from Jerry Hall. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you so much. And if I get down to it in that chat where I can show it on the screen, I will, but I did want to acknowledge it. Who haven't I said hi to? Loretta Nadal. How are you, Loretta? 922. And Barry Simon is here. Barry, how are you, my friend? And Jeff Johnson, the name you know. Yeah, I'm not going to be doing many egg beating movies since I normally beat eggs with my right hand, and it's not working good. When I try to do it with my left hand, it's ugly. I got to tell you guys, it's ugly. It's very anemic looking. No rhythm to it. I doubt I'm going to be doing any cooking videos again for a little while. Oh, well, it is what it is. What can I do? What can I do? And we're sneaking up on 9:30. Aaron, Ruby Goats, Joanne T is here. Gary at No Slow is here. Tanya, hi, sweetie. Kitchen Witch. 9:29. Paul McGrogan, Mark C. Terry Sue again. Mike Seeley again. Everybody get a jump on it here. And No Slow Gary. And the winner again. Oh, my God. The winner this morning. How you doing, my friend? There you are. There we go. Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry if I missed you. I don't know if you could hear me or not, but I'm back. I hit the wrong button. You'll have to excuse me. And I lost most of the early chat. The winner this morning was Lewis. Lewis from New York. How you doing? welcome. Congratulations. I screwed up. I have an excuse. Frugal Prepper said, give me a $5 super chat. Thank you so much. And said, and let me see if I can find this so I can show you on the screen here. Here it is. I've had 5 or 6 strokes. Holy shit. My last one was a double stroke. I have made a complete recovery. I would love to do a live stream with you sometime. That would be interesting. A complete recovery. How long? Yeah, that would be quite a story. Were they serious strokes? Did you get fully paralyzed and then recovered? Or were they more like transient TIAs, transient ischemic attacks? That would be interesting. We'll have to maybe explore that when I start contemplating doing interviews and things like that again. But man, that's a great comeback. It gives those of us some hope that are recovering right now. Me too says, blame it on your bad hand. I can't. My bad hand is just sitting here on the armrest. It's not doing anything. It's behaving itself. Oh, God. Okay, well, I did lose a lot of the chat, but I have the recent chat, so I have to start there. I think I can go back in this chat and maybe find the question. Let me see. Yeah, I can do it here. So let me go back a little ways. We'll go, what time is it now? 10 o'clock. That's 9:51. 9:45. Close enough. So I'll start at 9:45 and look for questions. I don't imagine many of you are asking me. Here we go. Florida, Kathy. Question, Mitch, are you getting muscle soreness from your physical therapy? No. It's not that strenuous. It's not enough to make me sore. I don't think. I don't know if other people do. But it's not a out of breath aerobic type of therapy or exercise. There's a few things that they do when you're in the rehab center. They might sit you down on a stationary bike for 15 minutes. But most of the time, it's 5 or 10 repetitions of a movement that your muscles don't want to respond to. It is 10 times as much work to make your muscle move. But when you have to, for example, when my fingers wouldn't work, when I had to hold up my hand in front of me, let me get past the microphone here. If I had to hold up my hand out here in front of me and hold it there for 30 seconds, I couldn't do it. But it was so much work pushing against what doesn't want to respond. It's so much work, and it's so tiring that you get tired as hell from this. You get worn out, but not sore. Not sore. At least I haven't experienced that. In fact, I've had very little, if no kind of pain of any kind at all from this whole adventure, from the time I had the stroke to now. Let me look for some more questions. Here's another one. Retired Rick says, buy me a coffee isn't working for you? Oh, no. I didn't mention buy me a coffee today, but why isn't it working? Let me go over here and try to find it. I have to log in. Well, let me put the link in there. Buy me a coffee. Buymeacoffee.com. God, I sure hope that's working. And then you have to put / buymeacoffee.com / bear with me, guys. Bear with me, if you would. / old guy carnivore. One-handed typing at its best. All right, and let's see what happens. All right, I got the thing up. I can't buy myself a coffee, but there it is. It says, buy me a coffee. And here you can put how many coffees you want to buy. If 5 isn't enough, you can actually put 100 in here if you want to. That'd be a little ambitious for me, but whatever. And then you just click the support button, and it should take you to a payment port, some way to credit card or PayPal or whatever. So the site is working. Buymeacoffee.com / OldGuyCarnivore. If for some reason it's not working for you, it's okay. I appreciate the thought, my friend. Appreciate the thought. Let's see. Let's go back to this. Look for another question. Anyway, that was Retired Rick. Thanks for bringing that to my attention, my friend. And let me see if anybody was able to make it work today. Did I get any coffees? I got this. Yeah, I did. Seagull bought me 3 coffees. Says, good to see you. So it's working. It's working, and thank you. Thank you for that. I still got Meatitudes up there. It says, blame it on your hand. Get rid of it. Okay. Oh, my friends, I'm sorry, but professional show business has flown out the window for a little while with these live streams, but I'm here. At least I'm here. And I would be willing to bet you. In fact, I'd be confident to bet you big money that on the entirety of YouTube, there is not one other man close to 80 years old who's doing a regular live stream again 5 weeks after a debilitating stroke. That's a bet I think everybody should take. And I'm proud of that. I really am. I really am. So you'll have to excuse a little bit of unshow business like accidents that might happen from time to time while I'm trying to do this. I promise. As I get better, it'll get better again. Maybe you'll like it better this way. Maybe I don't need to be so smooth and professional. But that's just me. Let's see, questions. If you got some questions, put them in now. I'm likely to actually get to the end of the chat. So, Meatitude says carnivore. I want more coffee. Maybe there's a carb in that cup. There might be. But one carb doesn't seem to do much for anybody anyway. There's a 3/4 of a carb in an egg. You don't need it for the carbs. Charles Santa Claus says that I'm looking better and sound great this morning. Well, thank you. Thank you. See, in my ear, I still, when I hear my voice in my head, I still hear some slurring. And I'm consciously trying, because that's what the speech therapist says. You have to be aware and consciously enunciate clearly. And it's a lot of work to do that, because these things are things that we learn to do automatically. The good news is I talk so much to everybody, I'm getting a lot of practice. Oh, compliments are great. This is great. Wow, thank you. I'm almost too humble to read that. Okay, looking for questions. I see Pamela Suarez is here. How you doing? Laurie's here. DS111, Terry Sue, Aaron, Booby Goats, Bermuda Guy. Hi, Bermuda Guy. Debbie Wessel, Carnivorous Awakening. Humary Jamal. Hi, Mitch. How are you? Here we go. Question. I'm thinking. David Parker says, I'm thinking about getting one of those auto alerts from the VA. Is there a lot of red tape involved? I'm a combat veteran, but I haven't been using the VA medical system. Well, first of all, you got to be in the system. If you're in the system and you want one of those things, your primary care provider needs to order it for you. So you need to contact them. So far, I'm not having the best of luck with that particular push button gizmo. It is only operates on this cellular system, not Wi-Fi. That's probably a good thing in most cases. That means you can wear that button because it basically is a little cell phone. You can talk to, they'll answer on it. You'll be talking to the little button. And I decided to test it because they told me to test it the other night. And considering that I have a metal roof on my house, and the cell service, and this thing worked on Verizon. The cell service from Verizon in my house sucks. The cell service from AT&T, which I have my phone on, also sucks. I'm in an area where everybody's cell phone service sucks. The reason I can use my phone in here is my phone has what's called Wi-Fi calling. And when the cell signal isn't available, it switches over and uses Wi-Fi to make the call. So all my phone calls and communications are perfectly beautiful inside the house. But this little gizmo box button did not have the ability to connect to Wi-Fi and route its calls that way. It's so marginal. It's so marginal that it worked sometimes and didn't. And when I activated it the other morning, it did work because I did a test. But we decided that the self-service was bad because the first time I pushed the button, it didn't work. But we finally got it to work. And the guy said to me, listen, to make sure, now here goes another one of those funny stories about anything that can go wrong will when it comes to me. I am the poster child for Murphy's Law. If those of you, many of you, if not all of you, should be familiar with Murphy's Law. Murphy's Law says, flat out, if anything can go wrong, it will. And that is Murphy's Law. There are many corollaries to Murphy's Law, but that's what Murphy's Law is. And I am the poster child for Murphy's Law. Look at my life. If anything can go wrong, it's going to happen to me. If you look up Murphy's Law in the dictionary, my picture's there. I'm telling you, I am the poster child. I expect it almost. So the guy from the Honor Alert company told me, he said, you might want to test this 4 or 5 times at different places around your house so that it will work if you needed to save your life. I said, well, it doesn't instill much confidence, to be honest, to bet my life on whether I've got cellular coverage. He said, well, try it. And if it doesn't work, you'll have to find a different alternative. And I know there are many of these alert systems that do work on Wi-Fi. And that would be a much more reliable one for me, but it would mean that it only worked in my house. Fortunately, that's really the only place I need it. Because if I'm out and about, I'm not alone. I'm not driving by myself. Somebody's going to be chauffeuring me. Somebody's going to be with me always if I'm out and about. So I really need it at home. So I don't care much about whether it works on the cellular system. So I took his word for it. And the other night I said to myself, well, I need to test this out in 4 or 5 places. And the way it works is when you push the button, a recording comes on first. You've reached, we have received a medical emergency. Is this an actual emergency or a test? And if you say it's a test, it says, and this is again all artificial intelligence, it says, thank you, we have noted that this is a test, goodbye, and it hangs up and the blue light goes off. If you were to say emergency, then you would be connected to one of their dispatchers immediately. And if was necessary, because this isn't just for 911. You can tell these guys, they have all your emergency contact. You can say, would you notify my son that I need him to come over, whatever. Or 911. So I pushed the button. Push the button. Yes, sir. I'm waiting. It goes beep. Beep. And a blue light comes on. And it should have immediately. I should have heard the message. Is this a real emergency or are you testing? Nothing. Just went, kept going, beep, beep, beep. Blue light stayed on. I said, oh, shit. My phone rings. It's the Honor Alert dispatcher. Hello, sir. We just received an emergency notification from you. I said, well, I'm trying to test this thing. He says, well, okay. He's still not talking to me over the box. Now he's talking to me on my cell phone, which works in my house because it's working over my Wi-Fi. So I said, well, this was a test. Make sure that you don't send any ambulances to me. Oh, no, sir, that's okay. This is a test. I consequently found out that kid that called me, it was his second day on the job there. He didn't have a clue how the whole system really worked. He didn't work for Honor Alert. He worked in an alarm answering center. And that's how these alarm companies work. They contract out the actual dispatching and answering of all these alarms, whether it be Simply Safe or anything else, to third-party centers. It doesn't mean that the people in those centers know the company, represent the company. All they know is when this phone rings, your computer tells you what to do. There's nothing you can do about that. That's how they work. But he said to me, no, it's not notified. And I'm talking to him on the phone. This thing is still beeping. Beep, beep, beep. I said, how do I turn this thing off? He says, well, it'll go off all by itself. Well, that's the first thing he didn't understand. It didn't go off all by itself. It beeped for 3/4 of an hour until the battery ran down. All the while it was trying to communicate. What he didn't know also was that they have many fail-safes on this system to make sure that if the cell service fails, you're going to get help. That was comforting for me to find out, but I had no idea, and they don't routinely tell people this is how it works. All of a sudden, while he's on the phone with me, trying to figure out what to do, from the box itself, a woman's voice comes out. 911, what's your emergency? I said, oh, shit. I think I may have said a different 4-letter word. Now I got 911 involved in this mayhem. So I said to the kid on the phone, 911 was trying to call me. They got through to your push button box. I need to tell them it's a false alarm. So I start talking to the box. I have visions of the entire squadron of the fire department coming down my street with sirens blazing. I don't need that aggravation. That's not why I got this button. So I said to the lady, I said, I was testing this. It didn't work. Somehow it got to you. This is a false alarm. Do you understand me? False alarm. She said, yes, sir, I understand it's a false alarm. Can you verify your name? So I gave her my name. Can you verify your address? So she had the right name and address, which is later was comforting to me because had all those failed, I would have gotten help. Even if the thing crapped out, even if the guy at the company didn't know enough to dispatch anybody because it was only his second day at the job, it would have eventually gotten to 911 pretty quickly, evidently. I went around with her for about 5 minutes before she was thoroughly convinced that it was a false alarm and not somebody playing around. When I went back to the kid on the phone, he was gone. So I redialed the number he dialed to me. I got him. I actually got him on the phone. What happened to you? So I thought you were disconnected. No, I'm here. But now I'm afraid 911, there's a chance they may come. And I went round and round with him, and I didn't know at the point that he knew and didn't know anything. I know this is a long story, and I have the urge to make a long story short, but I have to tell this out because it turned into just another one of these adventures and proof that Murphy's Law is a real thing. I told him a story about the 911. He didn't know how the hell that happened. He didn't have any idea. Well, I didn't call him. Well, I said, for some reason, some 911 broad was screaming at me through this button here. Explain that to me. Oh, I don't know. Let me try to call the company. Now, the company is out somewhere in Utah, and they Mountain Standard Time or something like that, and their business hours and telephone support hours, because they have this other company that handles the alarms, was like a half an hour from closing for the day. He then comes back to me on the phone and says, I can't get anybody over there to answer. Now, my confidence in this organization, even though I later found out that they have 100,000 vets that rely on this, was that this is the most screwed up thing in the world. Just tell me where to send this thing back. I'll call Life Alert or somebody that I know has been doing this a long time. I knew nothing about the company. He couldn't get a hold of anybody. So I said, well, who? He said, let me try to get a hold of 911 dispatcher and make sure that they know it was a false alarm. He puts me on hold. The loudest hold music you ever heard come blaring out of my phone. I turned the volume down on the hold music to the point where I could tolerate it, but the volume was so low that I almost couldn't hear him when he came back. Just another thing to make it a little more difficult to deal with this situation. He gets back on the phone about 10 minutes later, and he said, well, I talked to the dispatcher, evidently in my local fire department. They said that even though they know it's a false alarm, and even though there's no doubt about that their protocol requires that they send someone out anyway. I said, you got to be kidding me. And again, visions of an entire squadron of fire trucks and ambulances and police cars, lights flashing, sirens coming down my street at 9 o'clock at night, and having every neighbor in the neighborhood coming running over here to see what's wrong. I said, I don't need this shit today. Well, I can't do anything about that. So maybe I can call them. Give me the number that you called to get this particular dispatcher that you talk to. So he gives me the phone number. I said, okay, thank you. And sometime in that conversation, he admitted to me that he's sorry, he's confused, he just started yesterday. At that point, I almost threw the phone up in the air. I called the number he gave me. It wasn't the fire department. He gave me the number of Honor Alert customer support. The number he tried to call but couldn't get through. When I dialed it, I thought I was going to be talking to the dispatcher. But no. A guy answers the phone. Honor Alert customer service, can I help you? I got through to the guy in one ring. As I started trying to tell him the series of events, this has been going on for over an hour now. All because I decided I'm going to test this stupid thing. He says, yes, I'm aware of that. I've seen evidence of it coming on their computers. I said to this guy, well, fine, answer me this question. How can I stop the fire department from coming here tonight? Well, we have no control over that. They're probably going to have to come. Okay. And then I asked him, how the hell did 911 get notified in the first place when your dispatcher at your alarm answering center did not send them? And he went on to explain their whole program, things that the average customer never hears. Yeah, plan A, plan B, plan C. They have so many backup and defaults to make sure that within a reasonable amount of time, no matter what happens, if they receive any indication of an alarm, which they did, you're going to get 911. I said, well, that's both comforting and a little annoying to know, but it gives me a little more confidence in the system. However, if there is no cell phone service, they'll never get notified. And I wouldn't have known. So in that respect, I think I would not have had the confidence to sit and wait for something to happen. So I learned all about that, and we talked about cell service, and he said, well, he says, we also have units that work on AT&T as well. According to my maps, the signal strength from AT&T in your area is better. It's obvious to me that the Verizon one is useless to you. I said, you're right. I wouldn't trust my life to that. To Verizon cell service in this area? I'd be crazy. And we talked about the ones that work on Wi-Fi. He says, well, we do only the VA stuff, but the VA may have other vendors who do one with Wi-Fi. But would you be willing to try the AT&T one first and see if it works reliably? I said, sure. So now they're shipping me the AT&T one, along with the mailing label to send the Verizon one back. Nothing is simple. Nothing is uncomplicated when it comes to Mitch. It's good to know there are some constants still left in this world. That was a long story, but it just goes to show you have to really be careful no matter what they promise you out there, no matter what the advertising says. You got to, if you get a thing like that, you're going to trust your life to it. You got to make sure it works. Now, one thing I did do, and I wanted to go over this, and I may make a standalone video about this. Remember, I told you that the problem I had with my cell phone was getting it unlocked. You'd think that'd be easy, and I got 100 comments from people saying, all I do is push and hold the power button on my phone, and I get a thing comes up, it says, emergency call. And I said, yes, every cell phone of mine that I've ever had did that. Why didn't this one? Well, this one is a Samsung Galaxy S25 came out in February. It's brand new. Samsung decided in their infinite wisdom to change the default operation of the press and hold power button to trigger Google instead of putting up the screen that says power off, restart, emergency call. I wasn't aware of that. I got this new phone. I got it, everything programmed in it. Then I had my stroke. It's a simple fix. Why Samsung did that, I don't know. But it's a very, very dumb and dangerous thing to do, to take away your user's ability to get to an emergency dialer just so you can forward requests to Google's AI. It may be a great selling point for people who buy the phone because of the artificial intelligence built into it. But it could kill somebody. Could kill somebody. It was a stupid move. So I went back in and I changed the function of the press and hold the power button to this. I press it once and it lights up. I press and hold it, and there, that red button there says emergency call. And that takes me right to a dialer. It has 911 pre-programmed, or I get a keypad. I can make the call without having unlocked the phone. That would have saved me 15 to 20 minutes. I may have had less problems from this stroke. You never know. You never can count on these things. You have to have a plan. You have to have a drill and make sure that it goes the way you want. I also have this button programmed. If I press it twice, click, click, it turns the flashlight on. So it's a very handy button. I can turn the flashlight on or turn the flashlight off. Click, click. Press and hold it. Up comes the screen. It says power off, restart, dial, and it has my medical information accessible from that screen as well, if I have any of it entered into the phone. So that's the first step that I did to make sure my cell phone isn't going to lock me out if I'm having another stroke or get run over by a bus. So if I can somehow manage, and the only other thing I would really like, and I haven't explored it yet, is when you're in that emergency dialer, can you make voice recognition active? I don't think so. I think that button is still the way I want to go for a while. But yeah, it is what it is. Let's see. Let me get back to the chat and try to get down to the bottom of it and see who's here, and we'll go backwards a little ways, answer any questions for you. I'm going to call it a day, take the rest of the day off. I'm going to have bacon and eggs today for lunch. My usual half pound of bacon, maybe 5 of those big eggs, and pasture-raised eggs. And I did it again. I'm sorry. It seems in a certain place, if I hit the left button on the wrong button on the mouse, it completely dumps the program. Hey, retired Rick asked, Mitch, you got coffee? Oh, I do. Whose coffee do I have? Did somebody buy me coffee? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Retired Rick bought me a coffee. Yes, sir, Rick. Thank you so much. Why is my phone? Oh my! I got my. No wonder I don't hear anything. I got my Notifications silenced. All right, I'll hear them now. Thank you, Rick. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Who else bought me coffee that I don't know about? Oh, God. This has got to be the least professional show I've done in a long time. But I'm having fun. Oh, a lot of people bought me coffee. Look at this. Retired Rick bought me a coffee. CB Carmack, 5 coffees. Thank you so much, CB. Thank you so much. Ketra bought me 3 coffees. Ketra, sweetie, thank you so much. And Seagull, Seghull, bought me 3 coffees. Thank you. Princess Mom bought me 3 coffees. Thank you. Thank you. Holy cow. I'm glad you reminded me. I always thank everybody with a little note when they do that, but I like to acknowledge these things in public. Captain America, Steve Rogers, Morning Steve bought me 3 coffees. Oh no, my God. You guys. Barry Simon, 10 coffees, Barry. Man, that's so very nice of you. Barry says, you are doing great, Mitch. Compared to a couple of weeks ago, you are on the right carnivore path. Keep on trucking. Thank you, Barry. Thank you so much. Tanya bought me 5 coffees this morning. Holy cow. I'm sorry I missed that. I'm glad I finally turned my notifications back on. Karen Shipley, that was yesterday. Wow. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. That will definitely keep me in coffee for a little while. Let's see what else is going on. My son is texting me. I'll have to get to him after the live stream. Okay. Where were we? We got that out of the way, straightened out. 10:30 already. Holy cow, 10:36. I appreciate y'all hanging in there with me. I hope that story I told you about the honor alert was either entertaining or informative, or both. I like telling stories. I always have. But one of the few upsides of what happened to me is I've got fodder for lots of stories. After that hospital stay and all the stuff that I'm going through recovering, the VA, I'm waiting because I got grab bar. VA ordered grab bars for me to install in my bathroom and by my doors and everything, which will make it much more confident for me to move around without the fear of maybe falling. I have worked with one of my therapists on the correct method to actually get up if you do fall, as long as you didn't break anything. Because you can be really helpless when half your body doesn't have the strength that it used to have. And I've got that down pretty bad. And I just have to be very cognizant and careful of where I place my right foot. Because that's what helps me balance. There's so much to this. So many concessions you have to make. So many things you never thought to be aware of that were just muscle memory and automatic. You have to manually now position things. Even speaking, you have to be cognizant of how you're enunciating so that it sounds normal. I was very fortunate to come out of the stroke with my brain clear, my speech intelligible, and a much better place to, without the face droop and all that, it was a much better place to start recovery than so many poor people who have these strokes. And for that, if I can say, I'm lucky after something like this, I have to acknowledge that yes, in so many respects, but I was lucky. So, when I say count your blessings, that's it. I won't say it. Terry Sue. Yes, Terry Sue, you're a very wise, wise woman. Terry Sue's telling me, in no uncertain terms, get some rest. Your inability to fight rest is not cool. Not cool at this juncture. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I agree with you. Excuse me a second. As I'll bring some nose blowing into the mix. I see Rick is here from Miami. Hi, Rick. How you doing? How's your mother doing? I read your comment on the video. You talked about. I think. I'm pretty sure it was you who said your mother had a stroke. Had a stroke. Rick tells me to take the rest of the weekend off and eat meat. I fully intend to. And that's where I went poof again. Fortunately, the poofs don't last long. And I'm back to the place where retired Rick says, Mitch, you got coffee? So let me go down to the end of this. I think I've determined that Tuesday and Friday I'm going to do these live streams. So the next one, at least until a few more weeks, and I may decide that I want to up the frequency of them. The goal is to get back to a morning show every day. But I still have so many other things to do around the house. So many things to readapt and relearn that it would, I think, be a little too much of a strain on me at this point to try to do one of these every day. But I miss it. I miss it. I like being with you guys in the morning. But anyway, thank you all. If I missed your questions, just ask them again the next time. I think it's about time for me to start thinking about my first meal of the day and how I'm going to spend the day relaxing, letting my body heal up. I want to thank everybody who's still here for hanging in there with me. Take a couple of minutes, say goodbye to everybody in the chat. I'll give you a little happy music to do that by. Here we go. We could all use a little more happy music. I will finish the last of my hot coffee, me and Kenny. And let's see over here who's saying goodbye. What did I see here? Let's see. Frugal Prepper and Garage. Yep, got that one. Okay. Make sure I acknowledge everybody. So who's saying goodbye? Rick is, and Don Shonger, Booby Goats, G&E Cordeau. Good day, Mitch. See you soon. Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson's here. Bye, Mitch. Pamela Suarez, Randy, Weichel, Charles, Faircloth, David, Parker, C. B. Carmack. Thanks for the coffees, my friend. Aaron, Booby Goats. Kitchen Wish, Tanya. Thank you, too. Thank you, too. Everybody saying goodbye. Lizzie. Rob M. says, later, Mitch. And I'll miss you guys. I'll miss you guys until Tuesday. If the spirit moves me, I may actually have a pop-up little surprise thing. We'll see. We'll see. So with that, the happy music ends. I will say to you my words of wisdom that you just can't hear too often. Take the rest of the day off and eat meat.